welcome. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Devan. Assam continues to battle a devastating flood crisis, with the death toll rising to 75 after 7 more fatalities were reported. While the number of people affected has come down, more than 3.32 lakh residents across 7 districts are still dealing with submerged homes, damaged infrastructure and widespread disruption. Over 600 villages have been impacted, while more than 45,000 hectares of agricultural land remains under water. The scale of the crisis has prompted a massive rescue and relief operation involving the Army, the Air Force, the NDRF, the SDRF, fire services and local volunteers. Amid the devastation, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has announced a comprehensive relief and rehabilitation package, including enhanced compensation for the bereaved families, immediate cash assistance for severely affected households, and educational support for students. But as rescue teams continue their operations, the focus remains on saving lives, restoring essential services, and helping thousands of families. We have with us today, viewers, a panel of residents of Assam, so that we can understand from them what is truly needed at this point in time. How is it that India can help? I have with me Gaurav Gautam. He's a communications specialist. Devarnav Sharma, a researcher and commentator. Nishant Sharma, teaching associate at Guwahati University. And Jyotishman Sharma, senior journalist, with us on the broadcast. Let me begin with Jyotishman Sharma, who's a journalist. Mr. Sharma, I have to understand from you, what is the current situation on the ground? Which are the worst affected areas?
Well, thank you for having me here. And I would like to tell that Assam is really having a crucial period this time, just because people used to tell that the flood has been seen after 60 years. But I would say this is a very unique flood this time, especially in the district like Sibsagar, Saraidev and Jorhat, and partially also some other several districts have been also affected. Many, approximately 4 lakhs people have been affected through this flood. And this time, as I was in the ground zero report, I would like to tell that the people have been affected. It's not the big deal, but I would like to tell that their houses, their dreams, the essential things, their livelihood, everything has been destroyed. And they have to, I think like they have went back to 10 years back, and they need, a very long time to revive back. It's a really very crucial time. It's very emotional, if I would like to add, and my tears would about to come, but somehow I control, just because I'm a journalist and I have to show some report to the people. And I would like to tell that 75 people have been died so far as of now, and 81 relief camps have been added by the government of Assam, and 34 distribution centers have been added. I would like to praise the NDRF, SDRF, Indian Air Force, Indian Army, and also Assam Police for contributing a lot for the affected people, for the people of Assam. And I would like to also appreciate to those people, especially the social media influencers or celebrities. All are coming into one platform, and this time Assam has shown there is no politics. Just because opposition leader Badruddin Ajmal has announced, and he has shared 2 crores rupees to the affected people. He went to the cities like Sibsagar, Jorhat, and Najira, Soradev, all those places, and he had shared 2 crores rupees to the people, the affected people. And Akhil Gogoi, who is also
All right, we see
from the
yes.
day one, he is just providing for his people. He's going to the remote areas from each and every corner and try to raise his voice for the people. And I would like to also praise the Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. He's really doing a very fantastic job and announcing a very great ex gratia to the people who have been affected. And these are really appreciable. And thank you so much for that.
All right, viewers, we've also put out some information at the bottom of our screens for those who are keen to help in whatever way they can. Monetary help does make a difference at this point in time, because all of that money that will be sent to the relief funds will go towards the affected families, of which there are thousands at this point in time. Gautam, bringing you into the conversation. Mr. Gautam, how can India help Assam right now?
Of course, whatever you have pointed initially, that Assam has faced one of the worst floods in decades. It's absolutely right. Assam is seeing the worst crisis, worst disaster in a couple of decades now. And I feel like pointing out three specific things today on your show. One, when the Assam floods happened, basically around Sivsagar, Nazira, Soraideo, and Jorhat. These are located in the upper Assam regions. So when this flood happened, there was a narrative that the flood happened due to a cloudburst in Nagaland. However, there has been no official confirmation, and it was later clarified that the India Met Department, IMD, has not issued any statement where it claims that the flood had happened due to a cloudburst. It was a rumor, and the Chief Minister of Assam had to clarify it. Having said that, we need to, now that the government is working on a 3R mission, 3 Rs, rescue, relief, and rehabilitation, after the floodwaters recede, the first thing that needs to be looked at is the reason, is why the floods have occurred. To me, it does not seem like a natural disaster. It does not seem like a natural flood. However, there might be artificial reasons associated with it. The legal and illegal mining happening since a long time in these regions, especially around the Assam-Nagaland border, might have contributed to the excessive flooding. Although this year, these regions such as Sivsagar, Jorhat, Soraideo, Dibrugarh, and neighboring districts have received excessive rainfall. Number one. At the very onset, let me also request and demand that a fair investigation, a central team-led investigation, possibly a judicial investigation, be initiated so that there can be adequate precaution so that such a flood does not happen next time or in the years to come. Number two, what I have observed is yesterday, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Prime Minister met the MPs from Assam, the Member of Parliament from Assam, and he had a discussion in his office. And later he shared a tweet on X, he shared a post on X saying that he is praying for the well-being of the people of Assam. Now, given that the Prime Minister's office is the highest authority, he sits on a chair which holds significant authority, significant power. The Prime Minister is not expected to just pray at the moment of such a crisis. We expect that the Prime Minister visits Assam, takes a ground assessment along with his team, and immediately within a week, he declares a special package for the people of Assam. And in fact, all the people affected due to floods in Nagaland as well. So this central package may be monitored following a special report by, let's say, the NDRF, SDRF, the disaster relief forces, and the Central Water Commission as well. The Central Water Commission plays a major role in understanding the situation. The PWD can help, the state PWD can help, the National Highway Authority of India can help. Highways have been destroyed. So all of these agencies, all of these all of these officials can come forward and make a proper assessment of the flood situation. And the central government should, of course, help the people of Assam in this hour of need. And my third point, and the most important one, I believe, is that we need to stay away from rumors. We need to stay away from misinformation, disinformation, fake news. There has been a collaborated or a visible effort on social media, specifically Facebook, where the left-wing people are trying to politicize the Assam floods. Mind you, Assam floods is not something that has happened only this year or last year or in the last decade. Assam floods are a geographical problem in this region, and there is no politics that can actually determine the depth of this issue. So any force trying to politicize Assam floods has to be stopped, and above all, any kind of misinformation can come in any form. So whether it is on social media, whether it is through word of mouth, since we are in a time of crisis. So any time of misinformation, disinformation, or let's say fake news has to be curbed. And I believe the people of Assam, just as they have been standing together, will continue to stand as a crisis. We, the common people, will continue to hold hands and stand together in solidarity with the victims. And as I conclude, let me also underline that we all, of course, stand not only with the flood victims but also their families, their near and dear ones. We also thank your team, specifically the editors and the ground journalists who have been working to highlight Assam floods in the national media. My 3 points, I reiterate within a minute. My 3 points remain: one, a proper investigation of Assam floods and necessary precautions so that Assam floods do not happen once again. And secondly, we need the Prime Minister at this moment. We need the central government to stand with us in this moment, although the state government and officials have been working hand in hand since the last couple of weeks. And number three, we need to curb misinformation with the stringent measures as possible. Thank you.
All right, Gautam, thank you so much for that. Let me open up the platform to Devarnav Sharma as well, who's a researcher and commentator. Mr. Sharma, from your perspective, sir, how is it that India can help at this point in time?
Thank you for having me, Devika. I agree with Jyotishman and Gaurav that, yes, of course, the floods in Assam are seasonal, but I do have a lot of disagreements as well. Because it is seasonal, I believe that it is also very important for us to understand that even though we would like to keep politics aside, but this is also a classic case of governance failure and misgovernance as well, because of that very fact. And I'll tell you why. The idea is that Assam's climate, Assam's geography, Assam's demands, and Assam's threats are very different from UP or, for instance, a Gujarat. And that is why the same idea of governance or the same model of governance cannot really be replicated in Assam as in a UP or as in a Gujarat, for instance. Firstly, yes, they said that there's a huge cloudburst, and later then when IMD debunked that very idea, then the idea was that there's excessive rainfall. Yes, there has been excessive rainfall, but were we not aware of this pattern? Because climate experts have been constantly pointing out that the seasonal monsoon has changed its character. Now there is not a long stretch of rain, but there is burst of a huge rain, which we see right now in Assam. Now, a lot of climate experts like M. Borkatuki herself from Assam have pointed this out. If they have pointed this out and Assam faces floods seasonally, isn't it the responsibility of the government to also be climate sensitive and be prepared for the changing monsoon patterns as well? Because it was predicted. Secondly, on 18th July itself, there was orange and red alert already issued. So there was active monsoon alerts already being issued at that point of time. And by 23rd July, we see a lot of people being died. So if there were already alerts being activated, if there were already alerts being circulated, then why was there no emergency preparedness at that point of time? Thirdly, the idea that the Assam's budget was just tabled a month back. In that budget, there has been no specific allocation for flood and erosion. Near Subhansiri River, there are thousands of bighas of land which are submerged completely. And even then, we do not have a specific budget allocation for floods and erosion. It is clubbed under the very huge umbrella of disaster management. But under disaster management, a lot of issues come in. A state like Assam cannot afford to have no specific budget allocation for floods and erosion. But also moving on, right? Just before election, Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to Assam multiple times. On one of his visits, he laid the foundation for the Kaziranga Elevated Corridor project, where he invested 7,000 crore rupees. I'm not saying Kaziranga Elevated Corridor project is a bad project. Assam needs it, definitely. But was it the priority at that point of time? Because there were a lot of reports which cited that 70% of our embankments, which are known as mothauris in Assam, were breached completely. They were beyond repair. When embankments are breached, when floodwater comes in, it reaches inside the village and it floods the villages, which is something that we see right now. So why was a portion of that investment at least not redirected in repairing embankments is what I think all of us need to know. But also, primarily, why are we just restricting the central government's role to a tweet and a cabinet meeting that we don't know what happened or that does happen inside closed doors? During the Manmohan Singh regime, in 2004 and 2012, when Assam was affected by floods, the Prime Minister himself came in, gave a press conference, and announced 500 crore relief at that point of time. Why do we have to still wait for a prime ministerial visit or for a high ministerial visit to Assam when there are multiple lives being lost, there are lakhs of people being affected? These people do not have a home. These people do not have anything to bounce back. They are moving up their rooftops and they are staying there, and they do not even know where their next meal is going to come from. But also moving on, right? Why is there a border? Why is there huge scale quarrying of hills in the Assam-Nagaland border? If you look at that border near the Dikho and Disang River, you will see that huge tracts of land are being cleared out. Now, this is in the northwest of the Mon village. In Mon village, where excessive rainfall is registered. If the huge tracts of land are being cleared out there, is there any environment impact assessment being done there? Because if not, then what happens is that when the water comes downstream, it directly affects Nazira and Hibohagar, which are highly affected at this point of time, and which were never really affected back ever in the history of Assam. So was Nazira and Hibohagar not given any warning if such a huge tract of land was being cleared? Was any environment impact assessment being done? Just give me 1 second, Devika. My idea is this, that if we still blame this as act of God in a state like Assam, then who is guaranteeing that this is not going to happen next year as well? Who is going to guarantee us that we are not going to lose lives next year as well? And that is my problem, that we cannot leave it entirely to an act of God, because there needs to be more governance on this, and there needs to be specific governance in Assam.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. Pertinent points there raised, and hopefully those who are listening, who are in a position to act, will take note of that. We've been raising the same demands for the last many years. This is not the first time there have been floods in Assam. We report on it every year, but this year particularly the floods have been bad. On that note, Nishant Sharma, I leave the last word to you. I want to understand from your perspective as well, sir. How can India help right now?
Yeah, so Assam is facing one of the worst floods in maybe the last 50 years. So this has been a very difficult time for Assam, especially in the districts which have been mentioned, like Sibsagar, Charaido, Jorhat, and also Golaghat. So there has been excessive rainfall, and there are also my fellow panelists have already mentioned many of the major things or the highlights of this flood that happened. So I will not get into those much in detail, but yeah, this has been one of the worst floods in the recent past. But again, Assam floods is not something of a new issue. It is an issue which and all the generations of Assam could easily connect to it. The Gen Zs will connect to it, the millennials will connect to it, and the old people will also connect to it, because flood is a situation or a problem in Assam that has been going on for such a long time. Everybody in Assam knows about flood. Even the identity of Assam, to some extent, has become it is a flood prone area in many parts of India. So as we all know, so flood is not a new problem. It is not a tsunami or it is not a volcanic eruption. It is flood, and it has been there for a long time. Now, every time discussions have been held in the national media, also regional media has always talked about it, but no change has been seen on ground in reality. There has been some works, there has been some projects which were taken up to mitigate flood, but have they been implemented well, or do they actually work? That is the major issue here. But again, I would like to point out another 2 or 3 things. During this time of Assam flood, the people of Assam have actually shown such amount of solidarity. It is worth mentioning here. People from all across Assam, be it from Lower Assam and from other parts of Assam, have gathered and collected rations, food, clothing, sanitary napkins, mosquito nets, and everything. And they have been going to the flood-affected areas and serving the people. And through those people also, many visuals are coming, because a lot of influencers and a lot of people are putting their videos and photographs on social media, where you can see houses full with mud, knee deep in mud. These are the post flood complications that are happening. The flood happened. We all saw some visuals. A lot of animals died. A lot of people lost their lives. My heart goes out to all those people and the families. But now the post-flood complications are even serious. There are going to be a lot of diseases. There are going to be a lot of mosquito-borne diseases or vector-borne diseases. because it is obvious when the flood recedes, there will be puddles of water and mosquito breeding is going to be very high there. So there are many post-flood complications that are going to be seen. So we have to also mitigate those things. But again, coming back to the point, people of Assam has shown great solidarity during this time, and also the armed forces, the police, the disaster response forces, the Assam State Disaster Management Authority, all are doing their part. And also, there has been a relief fund launched by the Chief Minister's office, and also a lot of private NGOs and other people are also collecting. So that these people in need can get the immediate necessities, the basic necessities at an urgent level. There are situations in some places where people do not have even clean clothes, clean sanitary napkins, toilets, and although they are out of question. So this is the real situation on ground. It is very easy to talk, in a studio, or you can talk when we are not affected, but on ground the reality is very bad. And I think the national media should bring in more attention, and every part of the country at least should know what is happening in this part of the country and how the people are suffering. Now again, coming to the post-flood complications, there are going to be vector-borne diseases, there are going to be mosquito-related diseases. So we need to take care of those things. Then there are issues with, there are a lot of pregnant women, children that are also in this, are victims in this area. So immediate healthcare is also necessary in those places. So I hope the government and the other NGOs and organizations are able to get there and able to provide, but there is still a lot of gap to cover, because there are certain places where the water has still not receded, and there are certain villages which are very remote, help has not been there till now, according to some reports. And so I hope
Yes.
they get, and yes, and there are many other things, then one more very important thing I want to highlight is we need a lot of research. As I told earlier, we have this Assam flood is not a new issue. Since independence, before independence, we have to know about it. It is not a new issue. There have been many chief ministers, many prime ministers, many governments, all have talked about Assam floods. But we need to try and find a solution. Humankind has always been good at finding solutions. It is not that nature has been kind to the humankind. Humankind has always challenge nature in a way, and also find a sustainable way of development, sustainable solution. Many countries have found solution to floods. Many countries have found solution to other natural disasters. So we have to find out about all these things. Here, I think the research is very important. Research is very, very important. We have good amount of a number of universities and institutes in Assam itself. We have the IITs, we have institutes like Guwahati University, where I am working, and also many other good universities. I think we need to invest more fund research projects on finding solutions. We need to find research and development projects that we can find a solution. Because without solutions, we can always be complaining about these things. But for how long? Generation after generation, this has been going on. And so I think these are some of the major issues that need to be, highlighted. And the national media can be very instrumental in here. So I also request the national media to, highlight this issue as much as possible. They are doing to some extent, but
Absolutely.
I think there is more scope. And also, last I want to say, I'm thankful to those people who are actually coming out as a society, as a society. They are coming out, they are helping each other
Yes.
around, and these scenes are actually very are touching, and I'm proud of it that my people are coming out for the people, or for my people, and they are
Absolutely.
coming out and they are helping
Absolutely,
people on
because at
ground.
the end of the day,
That is
sir,
very
we
important.
are all Indians. We will, of course, continue to stand by one another in these tough times. On that note, I thank all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast. We will continue to flash this information at the bottom of our screens on how Indians who are not in or around Assam and cannot physically volunteer with the flood situation can at least help monetarily. On that note, a very short break.